So we're all here to say farewell to our friend Mr. Riggi, who's been with us for a very long time, and looking around the room has impacted an awful lot of people. We see people that have retired years ago, retired military, retired civilians, those who are working with us today. I have to tell you, Dean, that it's quite impressive to have all of these old folks show up for your retirement. And I want to say something from the get-go. You know, politically correct might be a stretch for this, so anything that we say today is not intended to insult anybody. Well, maybe you do a little bit, yeah. But that's my disclaimer, and we're sticking to it. So, welcome everybody. Dean, we're sorry to see you go. So, I think to start things off, we're going to ask Mr. Zawacki to come up and do the presentation. So, if you would come up here, Dean.
The fact that it's Halloween does not escape me or I'm sure anybody else in the room. And that means it's trick-or-treat day. So you got a trick for us? No, I'm only kidding. But there is a big treat in it for you, and that's the fact that you get to retire after 28 years, and it's a really appropriate day to do that on. You know, reading some of the information I had about Dean, and I'm not going to get into it in too much detail because of a lot of it's already in the program, and I'm sure that the speakers that will follow once we have lunch will enlighten us on some of the activities that Dean has been engaged in over the years, aside from your official duties, of course. But I noticed that you're, in reading this information, that you're a Devils, a Mets, and a Jets fan. How's that working out? No, I got to tell you, Dean, I share the same. I'm a fan of all three teams myself, so I share your misery.
No worse than the Eagles.
That's true. Of course, the Eagles were never any good, but I didn't say that. But it's really an honor and a privilege for me to represent the TAG today, who couldn't be here, unfortunately, but to say goodbye to Dean and wish him well in his retirement. And we certainly do that. We wish you as much success and joy and health and happiness as you can possibly achieve in your retirement years. And I do have a letter here with a coin from the TAG addressed to Dean Riggi. Dear Mr. Riggi, congratulations upon your retirement from the Department of Military and Veterans Affairs. You have exemplified the individual that places service before self through your service to the nation and the state of New Jersey. Your honorable service in the Navy, and I underscore Navy, and the Air National Guard equip you with a unique and useful perspective that you use to maximize your performance as a state employee. Your rise through the ranks in your military career from the enlisted ranks to officer is a testament to your focus and dedication. Your perspective, commitment, and attention to detail have been apparent throughout your 27 years of faithful and dedicated service to our state. You have truly been a member of the DeMava team and family. Your individual efforts have had a significant impact on improving the quality of life and the work environment of our employees and guardsmen throughout the state. Your efforts were recognized as the Department Employee of the Year in 2012. I would like to offer my personal best wishes to you for health and happiness to enjoy your retirement years and present you a memento marking this significant occasion. Sincerely, Michael L. Kniff, Brigadier General, New Jersey Air National Guard.
Gentlemen, please. I'm the new PAO for the day. Thank you very much.
Not to be outdone by a general, although that's easy, especially if you're an old Navy guy. I just want to present to you my coin, no letter but a coin, with my appreciation for your service and my best wishes for a healthy, happy, full retirement. Long may it last.
So before we eat, we're going to ask Reverend Kale to do the
Dear Lord, to some of us, Dean was a brother guardsman, to others, a fellow co-worker, to all here, a friend. Let us be grateful for the time spent together, both those moments that were character building and those moments that were joyous. Let us pray for his well-being as he moves into another phase of his life. Please lead him in his journey to serve your will. Let him keep his friends and fond memories and guide him in his path to the future. Amen.
Amen. You start with
You said it right.
All right. Put it back on the podium.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
So before we get started again, I just want to take a minute
Still have emails from her about positions that hadn't been filled, that they were downtown pending approval, but never filled.
Well, that's because that was because that was the rule. She won't let me. I'm sure the boss came in and says,
There you go. All right.
she doesn't like that.
So before we get started, one administrative announcement. Please hang on to your forks. If you're going to have cake. And I would be remiss in not thanking the committee that put all of this together. It is such a festive occasion. I think it's appropriate for the day of Mr. Arrighi's retirement. And to celebrate your long career. We put together just a couple of remarks, some serious, some not so serious, some memories for you. And we're going to start our afternoon program off with Colonel Burns.
Good afternoon, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I'll be brief. I know I'm followed by some people that I'm sure will be much more entertaining, and they will feel free to let loose on Dean. But Dean, I just want to tell you, you've been a great friend. You've been a great person to work with, a great co-worker. And when I came to the FMO shop, I guess it was a little less than 4 years ago. You were one of the few guys that I knew, and I had worked with you while I was the surface maintenance manager. And, you know, Dean and the environmental team were always great to work with. They really were. Dean always had this this ethic that they were part of the team. They provided training and education. They weren't always about inspections and pointing out your shortfalls to everybody in public. they worked with us well. And you know, as a leader, Dean set that spirit of cooperation and that team effort. You can see that today in the environmental staff and in the construction management branch, which he took over, I guess, about 4.5 years ago, 5 years ago. He's been someone that I always could rely on and trust, and Dean, you certainly be missed. Dean and I have always kind of had a special bond. You know, besides being two guys with the most pronounced North Jersey accents, we also are two of the only Jet fans in the building. Mr. Swacky too, but we're kind of surrounded by Eagle and Giant fans. Pretty much, they kind of outnumber us like 10-1 in our area. I think we're even outnumbered by the Cowboy fans, which are probably the most obnoxious because of their leader, Captain Kirk over there. But I think, I think the real tragic part of Dean leaving is not only am I losing a fellow Jet fan, but Linda Crota is already hanging up Tom Brady posters in your office. Dean is an individual who spent his life in the service to the state and nation. He served in 3 out of 4 military branches of service, starting with the Navy, served with the Air Guard, and he's continued his service as a civilian worker to support the Army Guard. He has more joint experience than most people in the Pentagon. Now, I'm not sure if Dean shared with you all his plan yet, but he's talked about moving out to California. I think it's because he enlisted in the Marines. He really wants to round out his experience. Dean, I just want to thank you for all your service. You deserve to enjoy the fruits of those service, i.e. the pensions, and I'm glad that you're a guy who's going to take them and start collecting them at an age where you're young enough to enjoy them. I wish you luck in the future endeavors and good health and retirement. And the department, you know, and the team here has put together a little present for you, so to start you out with. So, Dean, thanks.
So we, you know, most of you know that years ago we were the ID section, and then the CFMO was a separate section. And you know, I will say that most of Dean's experience was when we were installation. And most of us have been around a long time, long enough to get some dirt on him. You know, we were good enough to not use it until the day of his retirement, but no holds barred but now, so. Where's your wig, Ed?
It's over here, it's on my head. The rest of these people are going to take some shots at Dean, and I'm certainly not going to do that. But at least not until the end. But there's a lot of things about Dean that people don't know. I'm not so sure that people know that Dean can communicate in semaphore. He can communicate in Morse code. It all comes from his Navy signalman training. He had a good conduct medal from his service in the Navy for not getting into trouble. Some of the things that I don't think people really can relate to is, you know, when we had the hurricane a year ago, Dean and his crew put together a whole bunch of projects that they got done by 30 September to be able to get those things fixed, repaired, and moving along. And really, really, truly worked hard at recovering a lot of things in a lot of places. Not just at Seagirt, but at some other places. I mean, I think it's reflective of the fact, as a couple of people have mentioned, that Dean was the Employee of the Year last year. And I think that that's a reflection on the amount of effort and work that he put into making sure that things worked well for everybody. There is a misconception that Dean is unhealthy, And that's absolutely not true. I mean, Dean has hundreds and hundreds of hours of sick leave time. He is going to max out on the sick leave pension payment that he's going to get upon his retirement. So he certainly, contrary to what some people out there may think, is not an abuser of sick leave. He's certainly done all of those things. No, we'll get to that. And one of the things that happens is, this is Dean's last day. But if you know Dean, and you know how hard and dedicated he was working, he was actually here late last night working on things to make Linda's life easier in the future. I mean, he stayed late after work to catch up on all those things because he didn't feel like he wanted to be bothered today with doing anything. So he took care of it last night. He's gone out there and done that. One of the things that you have to have been around for a long time is normally when you don't feel good and you go to the doctor, one of the things that they give you is that you're supposed to get drink plenty of fluids, get lots of rest. In Dean's case, that's not quite exactly what happened. So Dean is actually a guy that feels that ice cream and fresh air is a much more suitable solution to not feeling well. And for those that don't know, Dean retires today. He's taking tomorrow off, and then he's starting a new job on Monday. So he's going back to work. So Dean, as we get ready for you to go back to your new job and concerns about sick time and all of that, I'd like for you to come up and we'll give you the... we weren't able to track down the publication. For those of you that don't know, the story when I first got here was that Dean called out sick. Did not feel well. And then they had posted on the bulletin board the picture of Dean sitting at a cafe in Burlington, eating ice cream on the day he was sick. And for some reason, the Burlington paper caught his picture for some other activity that was going on downtown. And the sick thing didn't work out the way he thought it was going to. So Dean, here's your thing for that. And because he is starting a new job on Monday, we've got your little disguise thing if you call out sick. I popped off. We'll get that. So that when the next time you call out sick and you're eating your ice cream, they won't recognize who you are. And since the women always want to get the last word, I assume that this is going to be Linda and Jill's turn to say a few words about Dean. But Dean, personally, in front of everybody, I want to say you did a great job for us. You helped us a lot. I hope Linda does half as well as you do. And Dean has been a godsend to getting some things done, and we're all going to miss it. So good luck on your trip to California and your new job. Thank you.
Ice cream always tastes better when you're sick. Just remember that.
You probably got later time.
Sure you were.
So, to continue on to celebrate Mr. Riggi, we have to celebrate part of his past with reminders, celebrate his future endeavors and days, and to take a small snapshot of those things that we think are important. But yeah. So if you would come up here, Mr. Riggi. So I promised that we would, well, I had a disclaimer, so we're going to go with that. Okay. So, Dean, because retirement symbolizes age, even though you are a little bit younger, we want to make sure that you're well covered, so we have your own set of defibrillator pads. And you can wear them around your neck, because I know you don't carry a purse, okay? So So that's to start with. To help remember and celebrate the past. And this is part of the environmental thing that used to happen when we'd send Dean out. This is for chigger and tick removal. So yes, because when we sent him out to the field, he was often covered with chicks or tiggers or whatever. One of those sick days was because he stood too long out in the sun, so here's some sun tanning lotion for you. Okay. You can put them all in your goodie bag because this goes home with you. Yeah. All right.
I'll get a picture of all of them.
So because Mr. Riggi can now, he's his own boss, you can drink anytime you want. And you know when people tell you not to take any wooden nickels, well you can now give them. So there you go. There's a wooden nickel for you. Things don't go on a schedule anymore, so here's a round to it. And now, because we don't need to be politically correct, when people really piss you off, you can just stick a knife in them. There you go. And the last, but not least of this part of the presentation, everybody should retire with a nest egg. But the pièce de résistance is Jill. She has the last and the best part of this. Here, put this in here.
When do we get some of that?
Wait a minute.
Follow instructions.
I know, right? Story of my life.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Jill. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Good. I'm not going to use the thing because I'm loud enough as it is. So I was trying to put something together for Dean because, you know, Dean needs a little something. Everybody does. But and I thought about he was part of the Navy. He was part of the Air Force. He provides services for the Guard. So we got helicopters and we have airplanes, fighters, and tankers. And if anybody knows Dean, they know that he's got a very measured approach to everything he does. He's very meticulous. And he's a Jets fan. And he saves piping plovers and bugs and bunnies and all that stuff. So I put something together for him. And this is for him so that this completes your little ensemble and stuff. So when you go to the next game, here's your little... It's got Eagles and water, Navy and Air Force. And then it's got a little Navy thing and an Air Force thing and Jets. And a wire bag.
Can you hold that up again?
The bag?
Not the jet side.
Oh, he's got his blanket and his boots. And a ball.
You share that?
No.
What, the blanket or the boots?
Dean, sit over here.
He's got some.
Speed, we'll be here all day, so get you some real quick.
Well, I first want to thank everybody for coming. This is great. This is really awesome. You know, really. I'm a loss of words, which is rare, but really, to see everybody here.
We thought the president was going to be here.
That's right. This is great. I wanted to say a few things, so I wrote some things down and made some notes for myself.
Oh my God.
So, you have a few minutes.
One-word notes.
You know what? I don't think you're going to want to hear all this. I don't think I could put it into words. All the experiences I've had here, all the good times, all the not so good times. all the opportunities this department gave me over the years. You know, I grew as a person, I grew professionally, I grew as a person here at DeMava. And I shared a lot of good times with a lot of people, all you people out here and more. I don't know, you know, it's just hard to put it into words. So much has changed over time, but one thing that stays the same is the camaraderie and the friendships and stuff that you have here. And so, you know, and that will continue when I go. So, you know, I really, I'm very thankful for working here and having the opportunity to know all you and work with you. It's pretty awesome. Something I'll always remember and cherish, really. So, I mean, I wanted to get the soggy stuff out of the way first, because this is Halloween. So, as I was cleaning out my drawers, there was a few things that I found that just a few things that brought some memories. And I apologize if I leave someone out, but this is a very small thing, so I couldn't put a lot in here. But I think I'm going to start off with Linda. Come on up here, Linda. And Linda and I have been worked close together. She actually knew me when I was in the 108th also, and we've worked very closely together. And we've been having skull sessions over the past 2-3 weeks. I've been trying to spin her up on things. So I just want to give you my brain. Okay? I'm going to give Linda my brain so that if she needs to pick my brain, I don't have to be around. She can just do it without me. Okay?
Thank you. Now, with your brain and my lack of, I at least have one.
Let's see. Is Abby here?
Abby.
Abby, we've worked a long time, you know, in environmental, and she was a big help for us in taking over our well water monitoring program. That was one of the things she took over right away. And so what I found in my drawer was pH tape. So in your travels, you can just carry this around with you and test the water. So make sure it's safe. Hey, Joe. Come on up here, Joe.
Devil in disguise.
Joe is a unique individual, as we all know. But you know, I really had a good time working with you, Joe. You know what I mean? We did a lot of good things together over the years. You know that. And he's a great guy. And I remember, I don't know where I got this thing, but when I started bringing it around to the cubicles, they really hated it. So I wanted to give this to you. This was a little pen. It's a dolphin. And every day I do this thing. They want to strangle me. So I'm going to pass this on to you now, and you can enjoy it.
Now you can terrorize somebody else. Let's do it. I'm telling you.
Cliff, come on up here.
I never did anything bad to you.
Cliff has been a good buddy. Cliff's been a good buddy over the years. He's got him and Frank actually have a ton of Army stories, and you can listen to those stories all day. It's great.
I'm not throwing my hand in the pumpkin.
No, I get it for you. So, whenever you feel a little stressed, okay, You can use this hand grenade, okay? So, you know, it's a friendly hand grenade, so you don't actually have to blow anybody up, but, you know, it's a little something for me to do.
This grenade is no longer your friend.
Now, there's someone who's, Janet, not here, right?
Yes, she is.
Janet's here, come on, Janet.
Down there in the yellow.
She's a big lady.
Come on up, Janet.
Yellow.
I always like coming to see Janet. A lot of times in my mailbox, I'll get mail for Janet. So, and it gave me a good opportunity to come over and say hi to Janet, watch her eat her rice cakes in the morning, you know. You know, one thing is sometimes I give her an envelope and she wouldn't know if it belonged to her or not, okay? So she would take her finger and when she'd open up the envelope with her finger, and I would always cringe. It's like, you know, I don't know. She would just mutilate the envelope, open it with her finger. So, and I always said, don't you have a letter opener? She's like, no, I don't need one of those, you know? So, I have for you actually 2 letter openers. One is your traditional kind, you know, traditional kind. And the other one is the fancy, dancy, razor, you know, sharp razor one. Okay? Now you could really zip those, okay? Thank you, Dean. Let's see. Bill McBride. Bill, come on up.
Stand 5 paces away from him.
Another one of my environmental brothers. But do you want me to tell the story about the time I flew your plane, or do you want to tell it?
You can tell your story, and I'll tell mine.
The way I remember it.
And we still haven't found it.
Bill was flying one of his remote control planes out the back, and I was coming into work, and I saw him. So I stopped by and I'm watching him do his plane, fly his plane and everything. It looked pretty cool, looked pretty easy. And Bill was nice enough to say, hey Dean, do you want to land this thing? And I said, yeah, okay, looks pretty easy, so no problem. He gives me the controls and I fumbled with a little bit, what I remember, and I'm okay, I think I got it now. So I'm coming in for a landing, okay? And unfortunately, the plane hit one of the soccer poles. The plane just smashed into pieces. And here is the actual propeller. The picture says a keepsake. All this time, I'm going to give it back to you.
My story, I'm sure for those of you who've been around long enough know this story. A few years ago, Dean was into waterless urinals. If you don't know what that is, you can imagine a urinal, but instead of it flushing with water, there's no water. So the guy just goes, and there's no water that comes out. So there's a cartridge in the bottom that keeps the stink from coming back up. And Dean he loved these things because he saw them in the Burger King on Route 539, where 195 is, where Great Adventure is. He saw them there one day, and he wouldn't stop talking about them for weeks. Joe had a portable eye wash station hanging in his cubicle for the longest time. So I got the grand idea to turn that into a waterless urinal. And we've done it all up with the company logos that make these waterless urinals. And of course, there's no piping on the bottom of it. So we put a bucket on the bottom of the damn thing, hung it in his office so he could use it. So he didn't have to get up from his desk. He didn't have to do that. He could turn around and there, just use it, just change the bucket every once in a while. We had a picture of it, but I don't know where it went. I don't know where the waterless urinal went.
I don't know where it went. It was one of the best things I ever had.
It was good. Thanks, Dean.
Let's see. Jim, come on up.
haven't been here.
I am Captain Kirk. I am actually a Star Trek fan, so I'm impressed. Thank you so much for, we work well together, and I appreciate all your help for me in certain ways. But I got to tell you something, all right? The day he heard that I was retiring, the day, he said, I got first dibs. And I said, what? First dibs on what? He goes, your lunch card. You know the card? Lunch card? He goes, when you leave, I want your lunch card. I got first dibs. And he, I would say at least almost on a weekly basis, he would remind me that he has first dibs. So here it is, Jim. Now, I'm a nice guy, so actually, your next meal is free. And as an added bonus, I'm going to even give you a breakfast card. This, I think, came from, did this come from you, Ed? This card that says,
yeah.
This card that Ed put out, and it says, glossary of terms for bureau chiefs.
Yes,
I
remember it. Yeah.
Walt. Where is it? Where? Walt. Walt. You're gonna remember some of these terms. I do. He's still got it. Okay. Here we go. The term is you guys, and the definition is bureau chief. All right. The other one is the other female manager. So, when you'd speak to one and they were talking about the other one, that she'd always go, the other one. You know?
And that's Ed talking to us, so everybody understands.
That's right, there's Ed.
Right.
Yeah. Then you got soon, like, when is this going to get done? And the answer a lot of times you hear was soon. And soon meant when you get around to it. The same question, you know, when is this going to get done? Another answer would be eventually. And eventually meant not likely to happen this year. And then, again, when is this going to get done? And the answer is shortly. And that meant it's on the radar. So, no, it's on the radar. We got to go. Here's another one. When am I going to know about this? Would be the question, or that. And the answer is, I'll get back to you. And what that really meant was, I forgot. This is one of Ed's famous sayings. He would always say to you, you're killing me. You're killing me. And what he meant by that was, work faster. Another one of Ed's is, yeah, right. And what he meant by that was, I don't believe you. So, thank you, Ed, for these memories and immortalizing some of the euphemisms that we commonly used, you know, at the job. It's made it a lot of fun.
I can make a copy of that. I don't know where that white copy is.
Better give it to me.
Yeah.
I still got mine.
I got it.
Ann Amato, come on up.
Come on, Annie.
She always wants to do bodily harm.
She likes her hugs. And Ann and I, we've worked together for quite a long time. Probably the longest working relationship here in this room, I would say. Remember the time, Ann, when your daughter came in pregnant?
Oh, yes.
Remember that time? Her daughter came in pregnant one time into the office, and so I went off to my office and I came back. I was wearing sterile rubber gloves and a Tyvek suit. And I went to her daughter and I said, you know, if you're ready, I'm ready now. I'll help you out right now. We can have this baby right here, right now. If you want. Okay, we're ready. No, it's just a little something for you to remind me by. So you can hug this instead of me when I'm gone. Okay? Now, I'm one of her many bows. So, you know, she's got quite a few bows, and I actually heard that even before I left, she replaced me already. You know, but that's okay. I don't hold that against her. It's fine. Thank you so much, everybody. You're welcome.
There's cake in the back, and there's some cheesecake in the back, so please help yourselves to some desserts. Make sure that you saw the poster in the front,
Yeah, when you start looking at it,